It's time to start the third and final act as I welcome you back to part 37 of Neptunia VIIR as we go into Heart Dimension, the third of the dimensions you can explore in this game. But first we've got a little introductory piece.
Pictures of the hole have already begun circulating online. Please take a look.
I've never seen anything like this before. I've got a real bad feeling.
Then it's probably best to investigate immediately. Neptune, Vert, Blonde, will you come along with me?
Yes, of course.
Sure, no problem. Let's just pop on over, scope out the scene, and get back ASAP.
Then I'll... No, Uni. You need to stay here and prepare for the worst just in case.
Good grief, Noir. There you go, being all super hard on Uni again. Chill out.
She's right. If you phrase things that way, you won't communicate with her very well.
Uni, listen closely. Noir isn't trying to be cruel to you. In this world where we never know what will happen, you all are the only ones we can count on to look after and protect our home.
Blonde's explanation is super easy to understand. Hey Ron, let's do our best to watch our home.
Yeah, we'll do our best, Ram.
Right, so you stay here and take care of things too, Uni.
Okay. Okie dokie then, Isti. We'll be back in a flash.
Understood. Everyone, please be careful.
Gigi, what's wrong? I don't really get it, but I've just got a really bad feeling. I hope Neptune and the others make it back safely.
You're such a worrywart, Nepgear. All four of our sisters are together. No matter who their opponent is, they won't lose. Now they have their super cool and strong and amazing form after all.
If you're really Neptune's younger sister, why can't you be a bit more optimistic?
You're right. I'm just worrying too much. Nobody will find me here, and I'll just come home at a different time than Neptune.
Where are you off to all alone?
Uni! The night sky's so pretty, and I thought I'd go look at the stars and...
There's no way you'd have such romantic hobbies. If you're gonna lie, try to come up with a better one than that. You're gonna go after them, aren't you?
Yeah, I just have this awful feeling. So, Uni, don't tell.
Then I'll go too.
Huh?
I don't trust letting you go alone, so I'll come along with you.
Thank you, Uni!
It's nothing to thank me over. It'd be a pain if you messed up like when you got left in the 0 dimension, too.
Still, thanks, Uni. Oh, but if we both go, won't it cause a panic?
We're not planning to be gone long, so I don't think we need to worry. If you're still worried, why don't you stuff your bed with pillows and leave the note "I'm sleeping early today" on your door?
Oh, that might work. Wait just a second, I'll go get ready.
So the premise of what is ultimately going to be the most story-heavy act of the game is literally that a vortex appeared the hell out of nowhere and we're going to go explore it to find out what's going on. Well, I really like this intro though. Like, I kind of feel bad that I'm talking over it, but I want to kind of get the pieces out the way of where we are, and we'll hear this song again before the end of the game. It's not the final boss theme, before you say that, like they did with Act 1 and 2. They do actually have a different song for the actual final boss of the game. But Catharsis, this track, is a really nice and soft track that I just enjoy for what it's doing. Even if the intro that plays, like this intro cinematic, is probably the most simplistic of the three. But then I guess it's because it's the last one. Heart Dimension Neptunia H, Trilogy Finale into Legend. From the beginning to the end of the world. And just like that, we're in the game. You get the whole of Hyperdimension to explore, because I said from Act 2 that everything's available. All the optional dungeons that have been unlocked during the course of the adventure, we are not going to bother with yet. Additionally, the Colosseum has been unlocked, and that's getting its own part all by itself in post-game. In terms of how much I've actually recorded, I've recorded the whole third act of the game, so I've recorded the rest of the main adventure, and I'm about 2 or 3 parts into recording post-game. But there's a lot more I still need to cover, and post-game's gonna be a bit interesting when I eventually get there. Like, it's kind of sporadic, like I kind of recorded everything and then worried about the order later on, so I don't know how consistent it's gonna be level-wise, but there are some things, it's like, it makes sense to do them in this order, but you can't get to do them in that order. So I was like, well, do I just keep on jumping between all these different ways, or do I try and rework this? And so it's probably going to go for a lot more editing it before we get there. But at the same time, we've got a lot to do before we get there. We've only just started Act 3. And this one, although in terms of levels, it's about as long as Act 1, there is a lot of cutscenes that's going to be going on between here and the end of the game. And so I'm going to enjoy my ability to talk while I got it. Because there's going to be a lot of voiced cutscenes. And one glitched cutscene that's only glitched in V2R that is perfectly fine in the original V2. And I think they've patched it in the PC version now. That I'll also happily point out when we get to it, because it's the best cutscene in the game and they ruin it by not having a voice clip play. So I had to manually edit in the voice clip of it by hunting down the original clip and downloading it. I know. You could call it a talent, you know. Oh, just thinking about all the people we could get in trouble with, this upsets my stomach. My Dr. Nepper is the perfect type like this. It's got healing effects. Here, Histy, chug it. Very well then. Chug, chug, chug. I cannot believe it. My stomach ache has disappeared. Right? I bet my shares are going to soar because of this, baby. This will not heal the root cause of my stomach pain, however. Yeah, that's kind of an ongoing joke of the series. Neptune's always trying to make new drinks that are play-ons for real soft drink names, like Dr. Nepper. Like I think in almost every game except maybe the original, there's been a new Nep drink. Like Nep Bull is the best one, because that one's actually a healing item that's in the series now. It's not just a joke item. Nom. Sweet Castella and the faint taste of Darjeeling tea, that refreshing aftertaste. I simply can't get enough of this winning combination. Sometimes I long for a really sweet snack of pair with my tea, but much like these Otome games, there is such a variety. Oh, I didn't get to read the rest of that. Castellas are popular in lean books, but they're so classic that it feels like there's not quite enough. Perhaps I could create a new specialty. For example, I could make a Castella large, like my chest, and it could be made rounder, so if it was in a box it won't crumble even if it's soft. So I suppose it'd be like a tin box sponge cake, but larger. A tin box does fit the image of lean box as well. Well, it is worth a try. I'll work on it immediately. Yeah, if you go to any of the 4 regions, all 4 regions are working on new specialties. But I tried out this boob specialty. That's tin box Castella. How was it? It was fluffy and really good, but how can you do something special with it? Something special? Well, I did consider different ingredients, but I think plain is more fitting of a Castella. No, I'm not talking about the taste, I'm talking about the size. You know how there are usually 3 sizes for mouse pads, right? I think it's good to make something for reserved gentlemanly types. Neptune, I said that they are not boobs, but perhaps it really is best to have smaller size for children. You're right, what about a Blanc-sized one to start off? Oh, but then it would hardly be any volume for the cake at all. The hell did you say? Someone just manically threw a hat at us! We're being attacked! Now, Blanc, you're not supposed to throw your hats around. Proper manners dictate that you are naturally whisked off your head. Forget about the stupid hat! You said that stupid snack wasn't boobs anyway, so why are you saying mine has no volume? I don't remember explicitly seeking about your breasts, Blanc, my dear. Ugh! Oh man, if I stay here and all that boob ball is going to break out. For now, I'm just going to make 4 CPU sizes. I will take that advice to heart. Hey, don't run away, Neptune! You come back too! Hey, it is pretty good. Oh, everyone else in the fight, no, I was just like, hey, this is quite nice actually. To me, it was having these little cutscene bits of everyone making their own specialty. I'm happy that they had things like this, but I wish there was a lot more just focused on the 4 CPUs, because all 4 of them are so damn lovable. Like, I've gone on about it for the entire game, how much I enjoy it, and because of how the series has worked, this has been the first time since quite a long time that you've had all 4 of the goddesses together for a long stretch. Like in the original game, they all got together and met up as they went on, but that game's no longer canon. So we jumped to the second game, where, oh wait, the 4 goddesses were captured because Nepgear, Uni, Rom and Ram were the protagonists for most of the adventure, with the 4 goddesses only getting freed in the later half, so you didn't get to spend that much time with them. And then you go to the third game, oh wait, Neptune get trapped in an alternate dimension with Nepgear and only getting contact with Noir, Vert and Blanche through transmission on very rare occasion throughout the journey. So you don't get to spend that much time with them. So in this 4th game, being able to spend as much time with the 4 goddesses as you do is a breath of fresh air. And I hope they keep this going when the 5th game eventually comes out. I enjoy spending time with the 4 goddesses because they're just fun characters. Also, you unlock yet another optional dungeon. I'm probably almost definitely going to forget some of these optional dungeons. I will show off everyone that's significant though. Like, if I end up forgetting 1 or 2, like, if they're not significant and they're just there for side questing, then they're just there for side questing, but I will remember them. Also, get used to these dungeon layouts we're about to enter. They whore the whole of Act 3. Is this the giant hole? It's placed almost like a dungeon in an old RPG game. Then let's choose our class before we explore. I'm going to be a warrior. I'm the magic user. Then I shall be the priestess. Then Hey, what are you guys doing goofing off in a place like this? Oh, Noir, you never get in on this kind of stuff. We don't know what could happen here, so let's just stay focused, okay? Okay. Yeah, it's going to be just to sell it right now. Although no two layouts are the same, as I've mentioned several times throughout this Let's Play, this dungeon aesthetic, we're going to see like another 5 of these before we reach the end of the game. Act 3, and it makes sense when we actually are in the 3rd dimension of the game, which we now know is called Heart Dimension because of the opening. When we get into Heart Dimension, the way the dungeon is laid out and the way it works makes perfect sense why most of the dungeons are structured like this. But at the same time, oh my god, does this aesthetic start to get boring? Especially because there's an optional dungeon which I will be covering eventually, which, like I said, probably in post-game, called the Senmeu Labyrinth. And that place is the same sort of idea, but it's like 5 or 6 floors. It's a labyrinth. It's entirely maze-like. You have no access to your map, and it's this kind of design, but everything's black and white instead. And so you can't really see anywhere. And it's one of those things where if there's any kind of 3D mode that, you know, worked for this game, it'd probably make that dungeon a lot more bearable and probably quite fun. But because there isn't, the dungeon's a nightmare. And I know it's going to be a very long part when I get to it, because it's not like when I was doing the Pitios Ruins in Final Fantasy 15, where it was a bunch of puzzles but you're still only really going in one direction. So as long as you could keep on finding your way through it, you'd get through it. You don't get that luxury here when we get to the Senmeu Labyrinth. If you get lost in the Senmeu Labyrinth, you're just lost. The only thing I can recommend is make sure you bring an ejector button so you can get out if you get stuck. Also, you're going to start seeing people skyrocket in levels. Like, I know it's been kind of consistent, and it's one of the things I love about the Neptunia series as a whole, is that it is pretty consistent how often you level up. Like, it's not like some games, or some turn-based JRPGs, where it feels like you're taking a small eternity to level up after a certain point. It does feel like you're consistently working up as you go. Like, it's a consistent pace. I think they nailed getting that down. And I feel like they've been relatively consistent with that throughout the whole series, even in the older ones where they were kind of clunky in places. Like, as much as I critique the first game for being unbalanced, you still level up kind of consistently. It's just the bosses, some of the bosses have really bizarre levels that they put them on. It's like you're not realistically going to be level 18 when you get to an area, and then you're level 12 sort of thing. And then you just get your butt handed to you for no good reason. You're like, well, hang on a minute, I killed every single enemy on my path. Why am I this under-leveled? And I know I'm just drawing to one example, and it's the biggest example, but Chapter 2, the first proper boss fight, it's 2 bosses back to back. The first one's perfectly fine, but the second boss fight, it's a 1v1 between Neptune and Noir, because at that point Neptune and Noir aren't friends. Because in the other in Super Dimension, where the first game takes place, the 4 goddesses were at war with each other, and the game takes place in the aftermath of it, because Neptune gets amnesia from an attack ensuing in the war. And so because she has amnesia, she doesn't recognize Noir, and so ends up befriending her, and then later on finding out and feeling a little betrayed. But when you first meet, Noir jumps at the opportunity to try and attack Neptune in her goddess form, since Neptune won't know that Noir is Lady Blackheart if she hasn't seen Noir transform into Blackheart, kind of thing. So you have to fight Blackheart 1v1, and I kid you not, she is level 18 and you're around level 12 when you get to it, and she completely wipes the floor with you. She can damage you faster than you can heal, and she can kill you in 2 turns. It's insane. It's so like, what the hell? Like, I stopped playing it for a little while when I got to that bit, even though I wasn't that far into it, because the grind to just get strong enough to take her down is ridiculous. But after that, you have another grind in like either at the end of chapter 2 or early on in chapter 3, it's been a while, where you get an interesting boss fight that has these 2 bit robots with them, but one of the bit robots disables your ability to use SP skills, and the other bit robot disables your ability to use items. So you can't heal through magic and can't heal through items until they're both defeated. But oh wait, the boss can one-shot people. So then you end up hitting another grind wall, because you end up in a position where you need to be able to take out one of those 2 robots within a very limited time frame, otherwise you lose. And the thing is that they end up bringing back that mechanic in the 3rd game, but it's actually fun and balanced because you're a decent level when you get to it. And it's an interesting challenge. But in the 1st game, like, it's why I really hope Rebirth 1 Plus, which was Rebirth 1, which was a remake of the 1st game just with all its DLC that was put on the Japanese version on PS4, comes to the West at some point, because I'd love to cover the original to just show how charming the origins were of the series, while at the same time how clunky the origins were of the series. Because as much as I adore this series, the 1st game is rough to go back to. Like, I enjoyed it for what it was, and I mean, of course I enjoyed it for what it was, otherwise I wouldn't have bothered with its sequels. I did a whole review on it. Like, it was one of my shortest reviews because it's the very first review I ever did. But I do thoroughly enjoy the 1st game. It's incredibly flawed across the whole of it. Also, I'm going to point it out now. Some of these skills, like the level 53 skills, like Spiral Rake, Terror Division, Hard Break, and whatever the one Noir has, I'm going to forget they exist until post-game. I somehow fall under the assumption, after I got HDD Neptune and backed up the menu, at some point between recording this video and recording the rest of the Let's Play, I assumed I'd got all the abilities because I thought HDD Neptune was one of the last ones you could get. And I was right, it's one of the last ones, but it's not the last one. And so I'm going to completely forget, and it's not until post-game that it eventually comes back to me. So don't do that. When you get to level 53, get those skills, because they are amazingly helpful for the rest of the adventure. It's not going to put the other characters at a disadvantage, it's just the only like ultimate attack they're going to have access to, the only EXE they're going to have access to is the ones from their next form for the rest of the adventure. It's only Neptune who has access to Neptune Break and HDD Neptune. Which is the HDD Neptune form came about in the 3rd game, because the 3rd game had this fascination of all the goddesses, if they wanted to, could transform into vehicles or ships. Like Neptune has the ability to... No, Neptune and Plutia, which is the Ultra Dimensions, like, goddess of Planetune. So like, the other dimensions goddess of Planetune. Both of them turn into like jets. Vert turns into a giant spear. Blana hammer, and Noir a sword. But anyway, we've got a cutscene, so I'm going to have to stop that for now.
I'm so tired. This place is way too huge.
Jeez, you're so pathetic. CPU shouldn't complain so easily.
It's just us here, so it's fine, isn't it? Besides, I know your secret. When Noir gets into the bathtub, she gives off a big grumbling sigh like an old man. Ay.
What? Where did you hear something like that?
From Uni. She told me all about it in exchange for a cosplay photo mag you secretly released.
Why do you even have something like that? I thought I'd asked my friend to make only a limited run of 100 of those.
The world can be surprisingly small, Noir.
I don't even want to think about it, but you don't have any more copies, do you?
1 for me, and 1 for backup, and 3 for distribution, so I still have lots left.
She's not touching on the fact that Uni agreed to that transaction, huh? What's wrong?
I hope it's only my imagination, but is something coming towards us from over there?
Over there?
Yes, from way over there. I believe that's... Yes, it's a horde of monsters.
And it's a huge amount!
From looking at the direction they're moving, I predict they're most likely heading towards the exit.
Which means we'll have to defend the way out, no matter what.
Indeed, if we allow such a mass of monsters through, game industry will descend into a panic. However, this amount might be a little too much for us to bear alone.
Sorry. If I knew this was going to happen, I would have brought Uni along.
Nobody is blaming you. Besides, running into a horde of monsters like this was quite an unexpected development. And it is simple strategy to want to conserve your forces.
That's about right. If you got it, then hurry up and transform already. The enemy isn't gonna wait. You're right. I understand. Hey, what's going on, Neptune? You should transform.
Wait, I think I know those monsters.
What? What the hell do you mean you know them? Where did you meet them? What?
Could it be the Zero Dimension? It is the world that isn't this world, which you and Nepgear went to, yes?
I'm checking just in case, but you aren't mistakenly seeing things, right?
Nope. I'll bet my retro game collection on not being wrong.
Then the end of this area must be connected to Zero Dimension. But why?
We can think about that later. Right now, we gotta take care of these guys.
Right!
Then let's show off our strength to these zero-dimension losers!
And just because we can't have any acts without zero-dimension fights, we've got another zero-dimension boss. Right, I'm going to make the warning very clear now. You know at the end of Act 2, where Steamex and Affimojus both had an insane amount of defense to match their health, and so the fights took forever? That's most of Act 3. Every single boss moving forward, with only 1 or 2 exceptions, are insanely long fights. Like, longer than they have any right to being. And that is something I'm going to criticize the whole of Act 3 for. I understand that they want the bosses to be growing in difficulty and whatnot, but you're going to see when I eventually start attacking this guy, this thing should be dying quicker than it does. For the first boss of this act, it shouldn't have as much health as it does, and it shouldn't, especially shouldn't have the defense it's got. Which is why I'm transforming everyone into their next form straight away, because I was prepared for this. On my blind playthrough, I wasn't, and so I started fighting this thing. I was like, oh. Especially because there's going to be a treasure trove of fights that we're not going to get to use the goddess's next forms for to blast through its health. We are going to have to deal with them the normal way, like before the end of Act 2, because we've still got the next forms. It's not like they magically go away because the big major event they were building up to is past. We've got them for the rest of the adventure, so anytime we've got the goddesses, we can use it. Just remember, only the original 4 goddesses have access to it, no one else does. Which is another reason why they're the most powerful choice to have in your party, and it kind of begs the question why you use anyone else. Like, I know I try throughout the whole of Act 3 to use as many other people as I can, but like, without spoiling too much, IF and Compa are really going to get dropped hard. Because I do use them in one part, but almost every single normal encounter and boss fight they're in, they die. Because they're just that inferior to everyone else. I don't get why they decided to nerf IF and Compa as severely as they did, but they're useless in this game. And so although you're going to see me try and use them, you're also going to see me give up on using them quite quickly, and they're going to get backseated for the most of this adventure. Also, we should probably attack this thing at some point so I can prove my point, because all we've done so far is get everyone into their next forms, which I still love the animation of the transformation. I've always loved how they animate all the transformations between forms. I thought they're always really snazzy and cool. Especially because they've done more and more with the animations as this series has gone on. Like, it was a really simplistic, almost just straight cut in the original game. Thankfully, this boss doesn't hit too hard, so your strategy isn't too complicated. You just gotta keep on top of healing. But now you're gonna see what I mean. We're gonna go in for the strike, and this should do loads of damage. That wasn't loads of damage, now was it? And so I very quickly realised, like, oh yeah, okay, we're gonna have to rely on link combos or specials. Also, some of the special attacks have unique voice lines when you're in next forms, some just don't, which is why both of them are just silent in this one. I'm guessing they just didn't have time to record new lines for every single attack combination, but most of them do have new attack lines when you're in the next form. Which is... well, I say that knowing full well that a couple of them they don't actually record new ones. Some of them it's still Purple Heart, not Next Purple, in terms of voice quality. Because like I said before, the stronger a form Neptune gets, the more monotone her voice becomes. And it's supposed to be like a mature thing, like she becomes more of a mature form, and I can get that feeling between normal Neptune and Purple Heart. Purple Heart does act like how I can imagine a more grown-up Neptune would be. But Next Purple, she's just monotone, and I don't get that, unless it's supposed to be like that she's more machine-like because of how powerful she is, but I don't know. Especially because if that was the case, wouldn't that apply to everyone? Like, I know it's also the case in the Japanese version, but I've still always found it odd. Like with HDD Neptune, they still use Purple Heart's lines, not Next Purple's. But this is HDD Neptune, by the way. We're going to transform into a goddamn jet. And now, despite doing a little bit more damage than Neptune Break, I'd still recommend using Neptune Break over it because it costs one less action point and the damage difference is only minor. So you'll get 2 Neptune Breaks in the time it would take you to get 1 HDD Neptune a lot of the time. But that did do a decent amount of damage. Like, we are a health bar down, and the thing is enraged towards Noir, so it will only be targeting Noir and be doing extra damage. So you will have to be keeping an eye on people, because enrage is going to become a lot more prevalent as we go on into Act 3. Like, we saw it on rare occasion in Act 1 and saw it near the end game of Act 2, but in Act 3 normal enemies can get fear and enrage, and will get them quite often. And I said, fear is perfectly fine. Fear is they won't attack that one person, and if they have to, they will do less damage. But enrage is a bastard, because you know who they're targeting, and you know they'll be doing extra damage. The percentage difference isn't too grand, so you don't have to worry like that much in the grand scheme of it. It's just the fact they will be targeted. So if they're already on low health, you really will need to pay attention to that. And see, at this point, I'm just trying to build up everyone's final EXE, just because I just want to start taking this thing out because its health is so goddamn big. And so I drop a stat multiplier because of how much it boosts Neptune's stats. It's always worth keeping that going. What do I go for? I'll get it, Ravine. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Because I forget to use it, so I might as well at least talk about it. Blanc, with all her specials being not English, and then her ultimate EXE back in the original is called Heartbreak. Like, what? Why not make that a different language while you're at it? Or did it just not sound good when you translated it? So you went, no, let's just make it Heartbreak. Thankfully, the next form's attacks do still do a lot of the work for you, but I still feel like that should have killed the boss. Like, this is the first boss of Act 3. One of those attacks should have killed it outright from full health, and it just doesn't.
Now, what shall I do?
Like this, I think will kill it. If assuming I go for it, I think I'll go. Oh no, I hesitate.
Are you capable of dodging this?
And you might have noticed I've yet to try and pronounce this thing's boss name, and that's because I'm not. Look at it. Like, how are you supposed to pronounce that? But anyway, this should do it. Stat multiplier plus dimensional slice. This thing does it. The strongest attack in the game, bar none. plus a damage boost. We should be fine. It should die from this. Boom. Yeah, 9,981. And Carmelsius Z was defeated. And that's the closest you're going to get for me attempting to pronounce his name. And I think everyone levels up from this, but we got more cutscenes. Yay. I shouldn't be complaining. It's a visual novel at the end of the day.
They've sure got the numbers. But they were no match for us.
Although we're a mess as well.
Now then, what should we do? Should we go on ahead, or should we head back?
I'm curious to see how things are ahead, but first we must report back at the Basilicom.
Right. I can't imagine those were the only monsters, so we should work out a proper plan.
But if there are other monsters, will it be safe to return? It was fine this time as we happened to find the advancing monsters, but if more appear while we're at the Basilicom...
You're right. But we can't just divide our forces here.
Then why don't we just block it up?
Block it? Block it how? With what?
Like this, of course. I'll just set this substance Nepgear confiscated because she said it was too dangerous right about here.
All I have is a really bad feeling.
Starting the countdown. 3, 2, 1, ignite!
Goodness! To think you'd block the road with exploded parts of the wall.
I didn't know you could destroy these walls.
How's that? Now the monsters can't get through.
Jeez, tell us first before you do something like that again!
Sorry. I didn't think it was gonna have that much power either.
Well, whatever. We were able to stop the monsters advancing, so let's hurry back to everyone.
It's quite troublesome if you do something like that, Nepsy.
Huh? That voice! Could it be?
Hey there, Nepsy. It's been a while.
Uzume! Why are you here? Is this place really connected to the zero dimension on the other side?
Bingo. This corridor was created between the boundaries of hyper and zero dimension, like a passageway between the two.
Hey, Neptune, do you know that girl?
Yep, that's Uzume, the CPU of zero dimension I told you guys about. Wow, pretty crazy meeting in a place like this. Are you investigating too?
Not really. I'm just the commander.
Commander?
But still, Nepsy. Defeating the monsters aside, you didn't have to go block the dimensional corridor, did you? It's alright. I got to run into Nepsy again and finally meet these other CPUs.
What in goodness is this?
Could this be that crazy thing Neptune said she fought in zero dimension?
But why? Wasn't that girl fighting alongside Neptune to defeat this thing?
Half right, half wrong.
Hey, what is this all about? Why are you able to summon the giant, Uzume?
That doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore. After all, you and the others will be falling into a whirlpool of delusion from now on, Nepsy.
Huh?
Now, I've captured the currently active CPUs. I can't believe they'd be drawn out so easily without realizing it was a trap. Now then, I'll be heading back. I will soon make you fully complete too.
Uzume?
Hmm?
Is that you, Uzume?
If it isn't Gearsy, long time no see. If I could, I'd love to have an enticing conversation about old times, but unfortunately, I hadn't called for you, Gearsy. I don't want you to get all beat to hell before the party starts. Let's meet again when the time comes.
Please wait! Uzume! Neptune! Please let Neptune and the others go!
Don't go, Nepgear! Don't stop me, Uni! Our sisters just got kidnapped!
Don't you think I know that?
Then don't stop me! We have to hurry and save them! Noir got taken away too, you know! We can't be wasting time here! We have to hurry and save them!
You... Just calm down already, you idiot! Pull yourself together! This isn't like you!
Uni?
I mean, of course I want to go save Noir. But this is exactly the time we need to calmly make decisions. And you saw that thing! That giant freak that captured our sisters, right? I know it's frustrating, but there's no way we'd stand a chance against it. We just gotta head back to the Basilicom. Like now. I'm sure Eastwar will help us figure out what to do, okay? It's gonna be alright.
Sorry for the wait. I was filing the report. So? Have you cooled your head a little? It's unreasonable. I stopped you and then I even gave a report in your place. But I'm the one that's getting scolded. But I understand how you feel. A little bit. Someone you fought together with suddenly abducts our sisters, and the giant you fought with is there too. Of course you'd get confused.
I don't get any of it myself. Why? Why would Uzume? I don't understand at all. Please help me, Uni.
Then you'll just have to go and check yourself. And then we'll save our sisters. We already know what we have to do.
But...
Oh, jeez. How long are you gonna sit in here and mope like this? Ram and I are all prepared to go save our sisters, so what? Are you just gonna stay in here crying about it? Get a freaking grip, Nepgear!
I know. I want to go save Neptune too. But I can't fight Uzume. I have no idea what I should do.
I'm really starting to get irritated now. All you need to be thinking about is saving Neptune like any good sister would do. I'll help you with Uzume in figuring out what to do about that situation. Don't worry. So, just try relying on me a little bit more, okay?
Uni.
Or maybe I'm not reliable enough.
No, you're plenty reliable. In fact, I feel like the only person I can rely on at a time like this is you, Uni.
Hey, wait a minute! I heard that!
Ram, when did you get here?
Good grief! We came here to pick you up since we finished preparing for saving our sisters! How rude! Nepgear? Are Ram and I not reliable?
No, that's not true at all. Both you and Ram are just as reliable as Uni is.
That's good. Alright, well let's wrap this up and head out! We're gonna show them just how much our power as CPU candidates has grown!
Let's head over to Eastwar. If you guys have finished preparations, I'm sure she's figured out where our sisters have been taken.
Well, after that development of encountering definitely Uzume, next time on Neptunia VIIR we're going to try and search for those 4 CPUs. But until then, you guys take care now.